this week's episode of the Modern Dealer Podcast, I'm going to talk about CTAs and conversion tools, digital retailing, YouTube video ads, and a little bit of Google Optimize. All that and more on this week's episode of the Modern Dealer Podcast. All right, welcome in. David Farmer with Entice here. We are doing a solo mission this week for the Modern Dealer Podcast, and we're going to be looking at a few different things. Today, we are looking at CTAs and conversion tools. So let's get going here. Got my coffee, got my dark roast. Nice fresh cup going for the Modern Dealer Podcast this week. And if you've been a listener, a viewer of the Modern Dealer Podcast, you'll know that this is the very first solo mission. Now, this is something that I started, I want to say, about a year and a half ago, maybe even getting close to 2 years. It was July 2019. Now we're moving into 2021. And my goal with the Modern Dealer Podcast really was to be able to have a platform where I could share the things that I'm learning as I build this company. So just let's just take a couple minutes and kind of give you my background and kind of how I got to where I am today before we dig into our main content. So I grew up in the car business up in the Midwest. My dad was operating car dealerships from import stores to domestic stores. Moved down here in the early 90s, opened up a used car dealership. So that would have put me in my early 20s. And one of the things that I had a fascination about was technology and the auto industry. So at that point, 1992, 1993, if you remember back then, you're going to know that the internet was kind of a brand new thing. I think the computer that I had at that point was of course, we didn't have a way to get onto the internet. There's no built-in modems at that point. American Online wasn't even released at that point. I think Netscape Navigator came out in 93, 94. World Wide Web was just being invented at the time, and I was selling used cars in Pinellas Park, Florida. And so over the next few years, continued to utilize the internet in new and different ways and technology, bringing in a computer system for the used car dealership that I had, even just from a contracting standpoint, was kind of a new thing for us. So fast forward a few more years, ended up closing down that business, started working at a Toyota dealership as a salesperson. The first month I started, August of 1996, we sell over 700 new and used cars that month. So going from a small used car dealership to a large volume, tier one of the largest in the country, just an amazing difference. But I was fascinated by the retail automotive industry because I grew up in it, and to be there, one of a couple hundred employees at the time and kind of starting entry level was fascinating. And then at the same time, being involved with technology at the same time and being able to see how the dealership was transitioning into this digital experience and how it was affecting the car business. So, as I continued to work through different positions within the dealership, I was very lucky to be being able to be promoted into management positions. I started a BDC in, I want to say, 98, 99. We were responsible for 200 or 300 car sales would go through that. At that point, the internet was flourishing, a lot more leads coming in, a lot more communication coming in from the internet, and getting internet leads, phone calls, communicating, asking people for email addresses. Those types of things were happening on in that BDC. And I was also exposed to Grant Cardone. I'm sure you're familiar with 10X. Back then, Grant really was automotive specific. He was going to market to market and doing one-day sales training events. I think my first one with him was in 97, so exposed pretty early. Loved what he was preaching, loved the word tracks, loved the idea of transparency, give estimates of down payments, monthly payments, figures on your car. We, as a Toyota dealer, was involved with something called TQE, Toyota Quality Experience, through Southeast Toyota, where they partnered up with the Cardone Group, which is the in-store training arm of Grant Cardone. And we really embraced it as a dealership. And because I had, previous to that, been exposed to Grant and his training and was a fan, I mean, it was a no-brainer for me to really embrace that for the dealership and include that into our BDC. So one of the things that I had developed with my fascination for technology and for the car business, the BDC, and how the internet was, coming to be, with being able to email people and having a website and email leads from autotrader.com or cars.com. I mean, Google was pretty new at that point. YouTube, very new at that point. So it's interesting to look back now to think that there was a time before Google or a time before YouTube, but indeed there was, and I was right there with it. So anyways, in the BDC, I developed an idea to be able to provide estimates on down payments, monthly payments, and figures on a customer's vehicle through the BDC, through either faxing to the customer, if you remember fax machines, or emailing, that documentation. And again, embracing the idea of full transparency into the process. At that point, we had been purchased by AutoNation, an early acquisition for AutoNation. We moved into one price selling under the AutoWay nameplate. So, providing transparency in new and different ways for customers to engage with us through the Business Development Center was top of mind for us. So for the BDC, developed this idea, took that idea and turned it into a computer program, ultimately named it ePencil, and it was a way to generate a worksheet with estimates on down payments, monthly payments, figures on the customer's car, a trade evaluation form, a why buy here sheet that we would end up faxing to or emailing to consumers. And the really cool thing about that worksheet, and I'll bring in an example of it and show you what it was like back in 99. Very similar to the way that it is today, you'll find out. But we'd have customers coming into the dealership with a payment circled on the payment grid that we would provide, which turned into a process that we put in place, not only at that dealership, but at many dealerships across the country, circle and sign. So it was a way to present figures to customers utilizing that technology named ePencil, which was really one of the very first desking solutions of its type. That was in around 99, 2000. So the reason I'm kind of going through that whole backstory is you really understand that I've had a fascination with the car business my entire life, kicking around dealerships when I was very young. I was a musician in my late teens, early 20s, and gear was always something that was important to me. The audio gear, microphones, the computer gear, recording. So that kind of transitioned to how can I use technology for the automotive industry, and then moving into the BDC, and then ultimately creating that computer program named ePencil, and then incorporating that with a sales training and sales process. So this whole idea of retailing through technology, technology-assisted selling, digital retailing, if you want to call it that, is something that I have been involved with for quite some time. And so now with Entice, I've been able to develop a full conversion suite to help dealers convert more leads from their dealership website, open up transparency, drive traffic to dealership showrooms, and engage in online retailing activities. I've created a full engagement suite we call iSuite, which you'll find if you go to entice.com. And that's going to kind of transition to our main topic today, which is going to be CTAs and conversion tools. So, this podcast is designed to feature information that is going to be available from my company, Entice. But regardless if you're utilizing our solution or if you've been able to, or you're tied into existing contracts or different technologies, or you prefer those technologies versus what we offer, regardless, the technology doesn't matter as much as the ideology and the solution behind the CTAs and the conversion tools. Now, we as a company, in each tool that we have, whether it's our Visa reward card technology, our trade evaluation technology, our soft credit pull technology, or even our full digital retailing suite, we're going to have competition in the marketplace with some other companies, some bigger companies that have a larger footprint of dealers, but nobody really has this full cohesive solution that we bring to the marketplace. So regardless of what dealership technology that you're utilizing, what we're going to be talking about today, from CTAs and conversion tools, you can apply to your dealership, whether you're using our tools or you are using any other tools on the marketplace. And as we kind of get into it today, so just keep that in mind. Now, I'd love for you to go to entice.com and check out our technology and give it a shot. And maybe you're not in a position to be able to use all four, but maybe you start with one and you can really understand what we've put into this technology, where we've really focused on customer engagement and employee engagement, and how we're delivering the XML leads to your CRM, how you can interact with that, what data you can see in there, how you can open up that certificate, how you can incorporate that into the sales process at the dealership, however you want to utilize it. So with that, let's go ahead and let's take a peek at what some CTAs are that you can have on your dealership website. So, breaking it down, CTA, what is a CTA? A CTA is a call to action, and for a dealership's website, it really is the buttons that you have on your dealership website, whether it's going to be on your homepage, on your search results page, or on your vehicle detail page, or any other page that you might have on your website. It is the button that you want customers to click on while they are visiting your dealership's website. So if we kind of look at the typical engagement that a customer is going to take, and I'm going to take a minute and get a little bit of my dark roast hot coffee here. All right, clear my throat a little bit if you don't mind. All right, so let's get back into it. That's what I love about live podcasts, right? So CTAs, now typically we could look at a customer journey as a funnel, right? And actually, let's go ahead and look at this in kind of a cool way, right? And I can do this by popping up here. So let's look at what this could potentially look like and the idea of it on your dealership's website. So as a customer comes into your dealership's website, we're going to invite those customers really any way that we can get them into your dealership showroom. We're going to use pay-per-click. We're going to use social media marketing. We're going to use organic search. I mean, it really doesn't matter how we're going to get that customer into your site, but we're going to get them into this process. And our goal is to kind of bring them all the way through and get them to visit your dealership showroom, enter your sales process at your dealership, and then ultimately sell them a car. And then all these steps along the way are going to take place. So now let's assume that we got customers that have come to your site, however they got there, and then as they're engaging with your dealership's website, we're going to want to present the opportunity for customers to engage in new and different areas, so we can get them to convert from an anonymous website visitor who is nothing more than an IP address or a session or a user in your Google Analytics to actually filling out a form and providing their contact information. So that's what we're going to focus on now is CTAs. So let's, for example, we go right on the dealership's homepage. Now, our recommendation is to put some calls to action that are going to align with what the customer is going to be looking at when they visit your dealership website. So when a customer is looking to buy a car, there's a few things that we know that they're going to be interested in. They're going to be interested in, can I qualify for one? Many people already know this. Many people don't. If they don't, let's give them an opportunity to find out. So we can do that with our Credit Score Express. And again, you can use our technology or you can use other soft credit pull technologies that are available. But ours, the way it's going to work is we're going to have this animated banner right on the dealership's website, on the homepage, for example, and then right from here, I can jump in and go into the experience that the customer has. So again, we think about the funnel, right? The top of the funnel, we get the customer to the website. Second step, let's put something in front of them that's gonna engage them to make that click and give us the opportunity to engage them into something that they're interested in. Now, as you'll see with all of our technology, when a customer comes into the site, we're going to present that customer not only a form to fill out, but we are also going to give them other information to learn about what they're about to do. And if we go back to your dealership's website, for example, let's say that you go to your homepage right now as you're listening to this podcast, and find out what kind of calls to action are on your homepage. Click one of them. Now, most of the time, what you're going to end up is you're going to end up either going to another page with a form on that page, or you're going to have a pop-up form that's just going to be name, number, email address, phone number, and they're going to want you to convert to a lead. So what we're doing with our technology, and this is going to be across all 4 pieces of technology, is we're going to start with an explainer video. They're all very short. They're going to be tailored to your OEM, so your colors, your illustrations. The cars are going to match your cars that you sell. But it's going to tell a story, and it's going to build value in why the customer should take that next step. Now, we already know that there's some level of interest because they clicked on it. So keeping that in mind, our goal is to continue to move that customer through the funnel, right? So the top of the funnel, the second step in the funnel, the third step in the funnel. And in this example, let's just go ahead and take a minute, because that's about as long as these videos are, and watch this video.
Checking your credit score should be fast and easy. Say hello to Credit Score Express. FICO scores are used in 90% of all lending decisions, so a FICO score is a pretty accurate reflection of your credit worthiness. Credit scores are calculated using computer programs known as scoring models. Scoring models perform sophisticated statistical analysis on the contents of your credit report. Credit Score Express uses a soft credit pull, which never impacts your credit or shows as an inquiry. To get your FICO credit score, just tell us about yourself. No social security number or date of birth needed. And in seconds, Credit Score Express will provide your individual FICO credit score. Plus, you can get pre-qualified instantly. And we'll send your credit score and pre-qualification certificate right to your email. Optionally, you can complete an Express Credit application. Our professional financial services team will review your application and provide you with a pre-qualification status in just minutes. Checking your credit score and getting pre-qualified for a car loan should be fast and easy. And with Credit Score Express, it is.
So what you've seen here is we've moved the customer again through that funnel. Top of the funnel, we got them to the site. Second, we have an animated banner. Call to action. It's catchy. Somebody sees it. They have interest. They click on it. They move into our user experience, whether it's on a desktop or it's on mobile. It's optimized for both. Everything is color themed to your OEM, so it enriches your brand as the customer goes through. We also do things like have customized disclosures to make sure your TCPA disclosure is correct. Make sure that we're protecting you when a customer gives up their phone number, so you can text them and you can communicate with them. And now in this scenario, the call to action is that animated banner, and then the conversion tool is our Credit Score Express. Now, we're not going to spend a lot of time going through each conversion tool, but I can tell you just by putting in the customer's name, address, email, phone number, we're going to give the customer their FICO score. So we have a reward or a incentive for a customer to complete that step. So that is one call to action that we can have on your dealership's homepage. Another call to action we can have on the dealership homepage is our interactive Trade Value Express banner. As you can see right here, just by typing in a year, make, and model, we have this interactive drop-down list, just kind of like the Google the Google search bar. Enter that information in, and then automatically, boom, it opens up our user experience. We have a little bit different user explainer video to walk the customer through. Again, we know the customer arrived at your site. They saw that banner. They clicked in it. They entered in their information, so they have some interest. And if we want them to go further in the process, we have that alternative to be able to have a customer read through or listen through the video to learn what they would get if they started and completed the process. And with Trade Value Express, we have that customer's information on the second page where the customer would be incentivized. Now, if you opted in for the Visa incentive, you can see that we can incentivize the trade appraisal appointment visit with that $25 Visa reward card. So we can incentivize the behavior we want the customer to take. Again, we're not going to go off into the full conversion pathway, but it's easy to understand that what we want to do is we want to create a call to action to get the customer to click and move into that purchase process. Now, if we were to arrive at the dealership's website, you'd know that we have that Visa incentive offer in our entrance notification, and they have the opportunity to register to receive that $25 Visa reward for visiting a dealership showroom. So that's another call to action and a conversion tool, getting the customer to visit your dealership showroom, but before they visit your showroom, we get them to convert into a lead. So now let's do this. Let's go from the home page, and let's go into a search results page. Now, one kind of cool thing on this, and this is another point that we're going to talk about today, is this green button that you're seeing. Let's see if you can see it. Down there. You can see that green button right there where it says Build Deal. So the CTAs that we have on our SRP, this is going to include our button block. So what we've done is we've created a set of buttons that we can install onto a dealership's SRP, search results page, or VDP, vehicle display page, that allows a customer to have access to all of our conversion tools. Again, you can use your own conversion tools. You can take this idea and you can apply it with your dealership website provider to have one button go someplace, another button go someplace else, another button go someplace else. And you can kind of duplicate this on your own without having to use our technology. You can even have each one of those buttons open up a different form. It's just a simple HTML lead capture form. You can do that. You can have it go to a different page on the site that's kind of more optimized for a test drive registration scheduling system or trade evaluation, just having the customer provide the information and then sending that to your dealership and then you getting back. So you have the ability to take these ideas and kind of apply them directly to your website without having our tools or any other technology tools. You can just do it yourself. Now, you can see here we have the Express Test Drive button. That's going to be our Visa reward card system where a customer can schedule their test drive appointment right in that conversion technology. We have our Instant Trade Value button. Let me pop back over to my PIP here. Picture-in-picture, if you're not sure what that was. So Express Test Drive, Instant Trade Value, Express a free credit score for our Credit Score Express technology, or digital retailing. And for digital retailing, we have a few different buttons or a few different ways that we can engage a customer in that type of activity. And one of them is going to be this online button. For example, another one, might be and you can see here, we got the green button right there. We got the Start Online Purchase button right there. That's going to be available. So the reason we have multiple calls to action to move into this type of digital retailing technology is that we know that we're going to be able to appeal to different customers. So maybe something like Start Online Purchase is going to appeal to one customer, where building a deal might appeal to another customer. And then if we were to go into the actual VDP, maybe we can have something else, even a payment button that would show up on that VDP. But these are all going to be calls to action moving into different conversion tools. Now, the way our technology works, we are going to be able to have that technology open up right on this page, whether it's on mobile or desktop, providing that optimized experience into more of an app versus just an online form. We have our explainer videos being able to explain what the benefit of taking that next step and filling out the information and kind of really building value in the dealership's experience for you at having the customer come into the dealership. And again, full disclosure, so you know that your CYA, cover your ass. We know that we have that information in there for you, and that's going to work the same whether it's the Visa Test Drive or the Instant Trade Value with our Express Cash Offer or our free credit score. All of those things really provide for this fully integrated solution from the CTA to the conversion tool with the explainer video, providing value all the way. Or we can move into the Start Online Purchase. Now, like I said, the Start Online Purchase and the Bill Deal are going to both move into this digital retailing technology, but just we're going to attract multiple people. Now, you don't have to have two different buttons. You can have just one. And that gets into the next thing that we're going to be talking about today, and that is Google Optimize. So today the big topic is CTA and conversion tools. We want to bring customers to the dealership's website, and then they kind of get into that funnel, and they're going to move them through the process on your website. I would challenge you to go to your dealership's website and look through your site on how maybe a customer would be coming to your site and how you're presenting these calls to action and the experience that the customer has as they go through that and how that is going to add value to the online experience, and more importantly, how you can help get those customers into your dealership showroom. Because ultimately, your website is to help you educate, provide a good experience, separate yourself from the competition, but get that customer into the showroom and sell a car, or have them buy a car online, which there is a small percentage of customers that want to do that. And our Shopper Express technology is designed specifically to help you sell cars online. Now, Google Optimize. So we're going to spend a little bit of time on Google Optimize. And if you're not familiar with Google Optimize, what Google Optimize is a tool that allows you to, let me get to this page. I should have had this up for you. Google Optimize is a tool that allows you to do server-side experiments. So this is one of the things that we see in automotive all the time, right? It's like, I want to change this button to a green button, or I want it to say, get e-price, or I want it to say, get my best price, or unlock price. And we see this all the time, and we see dealers making these changes, but they kind of do it willy-nilly. Meaning that it's just, let's try this and let's see what happens. Now, the cool thing about technology is you don't have to do anything willy-nilly. You have the ability to use digital technology that's available for free from Google to tell you what works best. So instead of just doing a test, for example, you say, okay, Mr. Website Provider, MrDealer.com, change that button to say, get e-price, and let's try it for a week and let's see how many leads we get. And then the next week we go in and we say, this week let's do unlock price and let's see how that does. Do we get more leads? Do we get less leads? Now, because of the nature of digital and the way that customers are engaging from week to week, there's way more variables that you can't control just by making a change to the button week to week. It's much more nuanced than that. But what Google Optimize lets you do is to set up a multivariant or an A/B test. It's like, test this one and then test this scenario. So for example, as we have on our demo website here, you can see that we have a green build deal, and that's part of an A/B test that I have running set up in Google Optimize, to where what Google Optimize allows you to do is take any element that you have on your site and then change it as a variant test. So maybe the initial variant is to have a red build deal button, and the secondary variant, or the B variant, is to make that button green. You can also do multivariant tests where maybe you do a red button and a green button, and you do build deal or start deal or build deal or buy online now as the text that's inside that button. Well, Google Optimize allows you to make those changes pretty easy, and then what Google is going to do is it's going to serve up the different variants to different people as customers visit your site. So if I refresh this, I might still get that green button, or I might get a red button, as you see there. And it might change, every time I visit the site, just depending on how I have that test set up. So we're not going to go through in this video a detailed how-to, but I just wanted to introduce it as a tool that you would have available to do tests. So The other topic that we have today on the Modern Dealer podcast is Google Optimize. Are you familiar with Google Optimize? Have you ever used it? Have you talked to your internet director at the dealership? Maybe they have some experience with Google Optimize. Maybe talk to your website provider and ask them if they have Google Optimized set up in your account. And before you make that change to a CTA button, and upset the track record that you already have by having one wording or one color, just set up a variant test, an A/B test, and see how that goes. And then at the end of the test, maybe it's a week, you can go back and say, oh God, the green button outperformed 2-1. Let's get rid of the red. Let's go with the green, and then maybe do a green and a purple button test. And then you can do a multivariant test or an A/B test to find out which one is going to work best. But you don't have to do the heavy lifting. It's all done by Google Optimize. It's really slick on how that works. In a later episode, we'll get into the how to do this, and we'll get that set up in the coming weeks. So that's Google Optimize. Now, the last thing I wanted to talk to you about today is utilizing YouTube videos. Now, this is something that we do for advertising, for our advertising clients. We do as part of Entice, we have a digital agency, and part of that digital agency is we place video advertisements. We take those digital video advertisements, we place them on the Google marketing platform, so we have access to enterprise level tools and technology, in addition to utilizing video advertising on Facebook through the Facebook marketing platform. But specifically, let's talk about YouTube. Now, most video content that is created for dealerships is really designed to be consumed by customers kind of in a TV environment. It's designed as a TV spot, and you take that TV spot and you put it on the internet. You put it on the internet, it's going to be consumed on a mobile device or desktop device, and people are going to consume them a little bit differently based on the device. Now, if I'm on YouTube and I'm seeing a video, a pre-roll video, which is in-stream video advertisements, the technical name for it in the YouTube platform, but it's that pre-roll, right? Where you have to watch 3 to 5 seconds, you have to watch it, and then you can hit skip and go to the next one. And on the desktop, having that 16:9 format works really well because that's the shape of the screen that we're looking at, whether it's on a desktop, or like I'm looking at here, or my laptop, it's this rectangle format. But if I'm looking at it on a phone format, I'm looking at it differently. And if I'm looking at a rectangle video that I would normally see, it's only going to take up about a third of the whole screen, and then everything underneath it is really wasted. So I want to share with you an example of what we've done where we took one of our clients' TV advertisements, converted it into a mobile optimized video ad. And what we've done is we've turned it into a 4x5 dimension versus a 4x5 dimension, which is more squarish instead of a 16:9, which is more rectangle. And let me just go ahead and reshare this screen. So I'm going to go ahead and play this for you. Let me put my microphone in front of it so you can hear it as well. I'll just play through the quick 30-second spot, and then we'll talk about it after the fact. Okay, of course, I got my, let me put this on the phone. Start this over. Okay.
At Sun Toyota, get a quality late model certified pre-owned Toyota at over 50% off original retail price. Get a certified Tundra 12.3, RAV4 11.8, Tacomas are 10.5, Camry at 9,600, or get a certified Corolla for an incredible 7,400. Plus, you get our real nationwide lifetime warranty.
All right, so in that video, what we were able to see is I had their 16:9 rectangle video up on top, and then we built out a small animation on the bottom, very subtle, but all of the unique selling propositions that dealership has in their Advantage program, which you probably have something very similar, but you can take that 16:9 video, you can add content, change the shape of that video, and then run those videos specifically on mobile devices. So now you have desktop-specific YouTube advertisements, and you have mobile-specific desktop or mobile-specific video content that you can run. And you saw now we were taking up almost the whole screen. That was, I mean, it's really just kind of a beautiful thing, right? It's like the marketing geek in all of us will look at that and go, that's pretty goddamn cool. So anyways, today, the first Solo Mission Modern Dealer podcast, I'm going to do my own little Bert's 3 tips as we got going on here. So with this, my tips today is let's look at your CTAs. Let's look at your conversion tools that you have on your dealership showroom. Number 1. Number 2, the YouTube video ads. Make sure that they're a 4:5 ratio for mobile, so you can take over that whole screen. And the last tip of the day is set up A/B testing in Google Optimize. So if you have any questions or you'd love to learn more about the Entice products, please go to entice.com. Shoot me an email at entice or at david@entice.com. Shoot me a text at 727-514-2097. I hope you've enjoyed this first solo mission of the Modern Dealer Podcast. For David, we're out!